There was a time when a glass of orange juice was as much a part of the American morning as the smell of sizzling bacon or the sound of a coffee maker brewing in the background. For decades, it wasn't just to drink, it was tradition, comfort, and a bright splash of sunshine poured into a glass. But somewhere along the way, things shifted. Maybe it was the rise of busy, on-the-go mornings where people swapped the sit-down breakfast for protein bars and coffee to go. Maybe it was concerns about sugar. Or maybe it was just one of those small habits that quietly faded without anyone noticing. And yet, for anyone who has taken that first sip of ice-cold orange juice in the morning, you know the feeling. The tangy sweetness wakes you up. The refreshing citrus cuts through the grogginess. And for a second, you're reminded of what mornings used to feel like, and hurried, fresh, and full of possibility. So here's the real question. When did we stop pouring? And more importantly, why haven't we started again? To answer that, we need to go on a journey, one that takes us from the sunny orange groves to the modern factories that turn millions of oranges into the juice we know today. For most of history, people loved oranges, but they weren't drinking them. Oranges were eaten fresh, dried, candied, or turned into marmalade, but drinking the juice wasn't part of daily life. That began to change in the 18th century, when sailors were suffering from scurvy, a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C. That left men weak, toothless, and at risk of death. In the 1740s, a British naval surgeon named James Lind discovered that citrus fruits could prevent the disease. And soon sailors were given daily rations of lime juice, earning them the nickname limes. But while sailors drank lime juice to survive, the general public still saw oranges mostly as a treat, not something to pour into a glass. The real turning point came in the early 20th century in the United States. Farmers in Florida and California were swimming in surplus oranges. Groves were producing massive amounts of fruit, and families could only eat so many before they spoiled. In 1916, the citrus brand Sunkist came up with a clever idea. Instead of just eating oranges, why not drink them? Their campaign, Drink an Orange, was a marketing stroke of genius. Suddenly, orange juice wasn't just a quirky idea, it was a lifestyle. Families began squeezing fresh oranges at home, and a glass of juice quickly became a breakfast staple. But nothing supercharged orange juice like World War II. The U.S. Army needed a way to get vitamin C to soldiers without shipping perishable fruit across the globe. The solution was frozen concentrated orange juice. It wasn't glamorous, but it was effective. After the war, companies like Minute Maid turned it into a household product. All you needed was a can of concentrate, some water, and a good stir. By the 1950s and 60s, orange juice was everywhere, advertised on television, poured at diners, and enjoyed by families who believed a glass of OJ was as essential as toast or eggs. Slogans like "It's not just for breakfast anymore" made it feel timeless. For years, it was an unshakable part of the American morning routine. But like all trends, orange juice's popularity began to waver. As people became more health-conscious, concerns about sugar and calories crept in. Busy lifestyles meant fewer families sat down for traditional breakfasts. New drink options, coffee pods, protein shakes, green juices, and cold brews started taking over. Slowly, orange juice lost its prime spot at the breakfast table. Yet, even with all those alternatives, orange juice never truly disappeared. It's still here, waiting in the fridge, reminding us that some classics never go out of style. 1. Sip can still transport you back to Saturday mornings at the kitchen table or Sunday brunch with friends. So what really goes into making this golden drink? Let's head inside the factory and follow the journey from grove to glass. It all begins with the oranges themselves. The two most common types are Valencia and Navel. Navels are perfect for eating fresh. They peel easily and taste sweet. But when it comes to juicing, Valencia oranges reign supreme. They're juicier, tangier, and pack that refreshing punch. You expect in a glass of OJ. These oranges are grown in warm, sunny climates like Florida, California, and Brazil. Florida, in particular, is famous for producing the majority of America's orange juice, while Brazil dominates global exports, sending juice all over the world. Each region has its own harvest season, which keeps factories supplied nearly year-round. Harvesting is a delicate balance of timing and care. Oranges must be picked at their peak ripeness, when their sugar and acidity are perfectly balanced. Too early, and the juice will be sour. Too late, and it risks fermenting. Many farms still rely on handpicking, where workers carefully twist each orange from the tree, avoiding bruises that can ruin flavor. On larger operations, machines are used, powerful harvesters that shake fruit from trees into nets. Once picked, the clock starts ticking. Oranges are loaded into refrigerated trucks to slow oxidation and protect their freshness. They're rushed to processing plants where the transformation into juice begins. At the factory, every orange is inspected. Workers and machines sort through the fruit, removing any damaged or overripe pieces. High-tech scanners with cameras and sensors can detect flaws invisible to the human eye, ensuring only the best fruit makes it to the juicing stage. Then comes washing. Each orange goes through a series of baths, scrubbing brushes, and high-pressure water jets. This step isn't just about cleanliness, it's crucial. Since juice often comes into contact with the peel during extraction, any pesticide residue or dirt must be completely removed. Only spotless fruit moves forward. The heart of the process is juicing. In traditional methods, oranges are cut in half and pressed by powerful mechanical juicers, squeezing out every drop without crushing seeds that could release bitterness. The juice flows through filters, separating it from seeds and excess pulp. Some batches are left with pulp for texture, while others are filtered multiple times for a smooth, clear finish. For premium products, cold-pressed juicing is used. Instead of blades or heat, massive hydraulic presses apply pressure, gently squeezing juice while keeping vitamins and enzymes intact. Cold-pressed juice is pricier, but it tastes closest to fresh squeezed and has become a favorite in health-conscious markets. Once extracted, the juice isn't ready just yet. It must be pasteurized to ensure safety and shelf life. The juice is heated quickly to around 160 degrees Fahrenheit to kill harmful bacteria, then cooled just as fast. While heat can slightly reduce vitamin C and alter delicate flavors, pasteurization is essential to keep juice safe for shipping and storage. Some high-end brands use high-pressure processing HPP instead of heat. This method exposes the juice to extreme pressure up to 87,000 psi, which destroys bacteria without changing flavor or nutrients. HPP juice tastes almost identical to fresh squeezed, but the technology is expensive, making it a premium product. 4. Juices labeled from concentrate. An additional step is involved. Fresh juice is placed in a vacuum chamber where much of the water content is evaporated. This reduces the juice's volume, making it easier and cheaper to ship around the world. Later, it's reconstituted with water, blended, and often supplemented with natural flavor packs made from orange oils and essences. These flavor packs ensure consistency, since oranges can taste different depending on the season, soil, or growing region. For customers, this means every carton tastes familiar, no matter when or where it's made. The final stage is packaging. Whether it's the classic paperboard carton, a plastic jug, or a sleek glass bottle, packaging protects the juice from light and air, both of which can degrade flavor. Septic packaging, which seals pasteurized juice in sterile containers, extends shelf life and makes transport easier. Labels highlight nutritional information, branding, and sometimes even the orchard of origin. Premium juices often choose glass bottles to signal purity and quality, while large brands focus on practicality with lightweight cartons that stack neatly in grocery store refrigerators. And just like that, the journey from sun-drenched grove to your breakfast table is complete. Millions of oranges are transformed every day into the familiar golden liquid we all recognize. Despite the ups and downs of food trends, orange juice remains a symbol of freshness and comfort. Whether you're pouring it at breakfast, mixing it into a mimosa at brunch, or reaching for it when you feel a cold coming on, it's more than just Juicette's part of our story. It's the taste of tradition, the memory of slow mornings, and the promise of energy and renewal in every sip. If you've ever ripped open a bright bag of Sour Patch Kids, popped one in your mouth, and felt that instant jolt of sourness followed by irresistible sweetness, you've probably wondered, how do they actually make these little guys? A question that candy fans in the US and around the world have asked for decades. Because Sour Patch Kids aren't just another gummy candy. They've become a cultural icon. Whether you are snacking on them at the movies, trading them in the school cafeteria, or keeping a secret stash in your desk drawer, these sour-down sweet candies hold a special place in the hearts and taste buds of millions. But behind that puckering burst of flavor lies an entire world of careful science, factory precision, and candy-making artistry. The journey from raw ingredients to the final, colorful bag is surprisingly fascinating, and it reveals just how much effort goes into every single bite. The magic starts with the candy base itself. To create the chewy foundation, workers mix ingredients like sugar, corn syrup, water, flavorings, food coloring, and gelatin in giant industrial mixers. This is where precision is key. The mixture has to be smooth, thick enough to hold its shape, but not so thick that it's impossible to pour into molds. If it's too thin, the candy won't set properly and would turn into a sticky mess. Too thick, and the mixture wouldn't flow into the intricate shapes that make each piece instantly recognizable. Getting this texture exactly right is part science, part art. And it's the first big step in creating the candy's legendary chew. Once the mixture has reached the perfect consistency, it's poured into carefully designed molds. These molds, often made from durable metal or silicone, are shaped into the famous kid figures that give the candy its name. To keep the mixture from sticking, the molds are dusted with a light layer of cornstarch, almost like flouring a cake pan before baking. This step ensures that when the candies cool and harden, they'll release smoothly without losing their signature shape. Watching the liquid candy fill hundreds of molds at once is mesmerizing, a sea of tiny outlines, slowly transforming into rows of chewy figures that millions of people recognize instantly. But patience is critical. The candies can't just be yanked out of the molds right away. They need time to set and cool, sometimes several hours or even a full day, depending on the thickness of the batch. This cooling stage is where gelatin quietly does its job, binding everything together and locking in that chewy bite. If the candy cools too quickly, it can lose its shape or become tough. If it doesn't cool long enough, it won't have the right firmness. The timing has to be spot-on, and workers constantly monitor the process to make sure every single piece develops properly. It's only after this careful waiting game that the little Sour Patch Kids are finally lifted from their mold, still soft, slightly sticky, but instantly recognizable as the candy millions adore. Now comes the part that truly makes Sour Patch Kids unique: the sour sugar coating. This is the step that transforms them from just another gummy candy into a flavor-packed phenomenon. Once the molded candies are ready, they're transferred into massive tumbling drums, which work almost like giant rock polishers. Inside these spinning machines, the chewy figures are doused with a special mixture of sugar and citric acid. Citric acid is the ingredient that delivers that sharp, tangy bite, making your lips pucker the second the candy hits your tongue. Without it, Sour Patch Kids would just be sweet gummies. With it, they become unforgettable. The coating process is surprisingly delicate. Each piece has to be coated evenly so that no side is left bare. If there's too little sour sugar, the candy tastes flat and doesn't deliver the signature kick. If there's too much, the sharpness can overwhelm the sweetness and throw off the balance. Workers and machines work in tandem to make sure the ratio is just right. As the candies tumble, every surface gets kissed by that sparkling sour blend, creating a perfect harmony of flavors. This balance is what keeps fans hooked. That shocking burst of sourness that fades into a smooth wave of sweetness. A two-step taste experience that's almost addictive. Once the candies are evenly coated, the extra sugar is shaken off, leaving behind just the right amount to stick. But the job isn't done yet. The coated candies need another round of cooling and drying to make sure the sour coating stays in place. Without this stage, the sugar could get sticky, clump together, or rub off in the bag. Special drying rooms with carefully controlled temperature and humidity are used to ensure the perfect result. Too much moisture, and the candies turn soggy. Too little, and they harden into tough little rocks. Workers keep a close eye, sometimes even separating pieces by hand if they start sticking together. This extra care guarantees that every piece stays fresh, chewy, and perfectly sour-sweet before the candies ever reach a bag. They go through strict quality control checks. Machines measure the size of each piece, scanning for anything too big, too small, or misshapen. Human inspectors double-check the coating, looking for uneven sugar distribution or broken pieces. Any candy that doesn't meet the standard is removed. Consistency is critical because fans expect the same experience every single time they open a bag. This attention to detail has helped keep Sour Patch Kids at the top of the candy game for decades. Once the candies pass inspection, ready for packaging. High-speed machines weigh and portion them into brightly colored bags designed to pop off the shelf. The packaging isn't just about looks, though. The sealed bags keep air and moisture out, locking in freshness so that when you tear one open, the candy inside tastes just as good as the moment it left the factory. The bags also protect the candies during shipping, preventing them from clumping together or losing their sugar coating. From there, the bags are boxed up, loaded onto trucks, and shipped to warehouses across the country. With temperature-controlled storage and careful distribution, Sour Patch Kids make their way into convenience stores, movie theaters, grocery aisles, and gas stations basically everywhere temptation might strike. And that's the story of Sour Patch Kids, a candy that's more than just sugar and gelatin. It's a carefully balanced formula of sour and sweet, science and creativity, precision and fun. From mixing vats and tumbling drums to quality checks and bright packaging, every detail is designed to give you the exact same experience you remember from your very first bag. That unforgettable sour shock, followed by chewy sweetness, isn't an accident. It's the result of decades of candy-making expertise. But Sour Patch Kids aren't the only snack with a fascinating backstory. Another food that has taken over U.S. snack aisles and fridge shelves is hummus. Believe it or not, this creamy dip made from chickpeas has been around for thousands of years, with roots stretching back to ancient Middle Eastern kitchens. Yet, today it feels like one of the trendiest, healthiest, and most versatile foods in America. You can find it everywhere, from lunchboxes and party trays to upscale restaurants and college dorms. Just like Sour Patch Kids, hummus has a story that's equal parts tradition, science, and global popularity. The exact origins of hummus are hotly debated. Countries like Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Syria, and Egypt all claim to have created it first. Some historians trace it back to the 13th century, while others argue it could be even older. At its core, hummus has always been a humble dish made from simple ingredients: chickpeas, tahini, ground sesame paste, olive oil, garlic, lemon juice, and salt. For centuries, it was considered peasant food, cheap to make and nourishing. Fast forward to today, and it has transformed into a $1.50 billion global industry, sold in countless flavors and varieties across the United States. The process of making hummus on a large scale begins with chickpeas. These legumes are sourced from countries with the right growing conditions, including Turkey, India, and even California. Once harvested, the chickpeas are sorted, cleaned, and soaked for hours to soften them and remove excess starch. Then they're pressure cooked until perfectly tender, soft enough to blend, but not so mushy that they lose their structure. Factories sometimes use pre-cooked chickpeas to save time, but traditional soaking and cooking remain the gold standard for texture. Tahini, made from roasted sesame seeds, is the second star ingredient. Premium brands use high-quality tahini that adds nutty richness and creamy body to the dip. Then comes olive oil, often extra virgin, which provides smoothness and that distinctive fruity undertone. Fresh lemon juice brightens the flavor. Garlic adds depth, and salt ties everything together. Factories blend these ingredients with the chickpeas in massive industrial mixers until the texture is silky, spreadable, and perfectly balanced. 2. Much tahini, and the hummus becomes bitter. Too little, and it tastes flat. Just like Sour Patch Kids, the balance here is everything. Once blended, the hummus undergoes rigorous taste testing and quality checks. Experts sample each batch, adjusting the levels of garlic, lemon, or oil if needed. Food safety labs test for bacteria since hummus is perishable and eaten fresh. Only after passing these checks is the hummus portioned into tubs, sealed airtight, labeled, and sent to refrigerated warehouses. From there, it's shipped in temperature-controlled trucks to grocery stores nationwide, ensuring the creamy dip on your shelf is as fresh as it was in the factory.